Welcome to Pause for Peace with me, Pastor Jule, and here we are in the month of May 2025. And if you're paying attention, I mentioned in our last Pause for Peace that the season of Easter lasts for 50 days, which means it is only the third Sunday of Eastertide. So if you're listening to this on Sunday or somewhere in that third week of Easter, keep on celebrating, folks, because we got a long way yet to go. I love those stories recorded in especially the Gospel of John, the fourth Gospel, that talk about the encounters that Jesus' disciples had those first days after he was crucified and rose, after he was risen to new life. And one story that is kept close and is like assigned all the time for the weeks right after Easter comes to us from the fourth Gospel, and it's the story actually of Easter evening according to the fourth Gospel's record of what was going on. And in that gospel, the gospel often called the Gospel of John, Jesus' friends are locked away in the upper room, perhaps out of fear, perhaps out of amazement, maybe beginning to understand what Mary the Magdalene had come back to tell them, like he's alive, he's like not dead, he is risen. Maybe they're beginning to understand that in some ways. And they have this I imagine they have this mixture of emotions going on. Like, it was not that long ago in the stories that Jesus had been brutally murdered, executed by the Roman Empire. And his friends, even if they weren't there to actually witness it, they're still going through all of those great challenges of those initial days of just raw grief. And then to have this amazing, miraculous thing happen where he's risen and he's this new being among them and he is appearing to them. Like, wow, that's like blow your mind. Like, so many ways that their emotions must have just been going like in a zillion directions. And according to the fourth Gospel's record of this all, on Easter evening, when they probably were still like, really? Did he really like Mary Magdalene? Like, seriously? You saw him? You talked to him? He told you not to cling to him? What? Like, what is going on? And so it's in the middle of all of that the fourth Gospel records that Jesus just like stood among them. So there is a way, I think that fourth Gospel especially is trying to help us understand that this resurrected being is not entirely like he had been before. Like, something truly has been changed about him. And I'm not going to go over all of the theological arguments about it or even all of the creedal statements about it. I'm sure there are those who would say, no way, this is exactly what it is. I just read those stories, and to me it seems as if there are ways this perpetual communion is carrying on. And the stories that are recorded are stories that are to those who Jesus knew. It reminds me of those early days, and yes, I'm celebrating the third year anniversary of my mom's passing, and I was with her when she passed. And there are ways that being with her those 4 nights in hospice, and like the nurses coming in and out and being there constantly every moment with her, I kind of gave up sleeping at one point in time because it just wasn't possible. I was in this little cot in this room with my mom and my dad. My dad was confused because he was in early stages of Alzheimer's, and so I'm like trying to make sure he's in the room, and it's just like exhausting. It is exhausting to be caring for your loved one as they are passing. And in my own experience, there was that sense of like confusion. Like, when I first came home after she had passed, I've maybe told these stories to some of you before, but I went to bed. I was just thoroughly exhausted. I went to bed. There were all these conversations going on with all my sisters. And I just was like, I gotta go to bed or I'm gonna pass out. And when I woke up, my sister came to like give me a message, and I had just spent 4 days and nights listening to that monitor on whether or not my mom was taking another breath, and just like listening for the sound of the breath, how it slows down as we depart, as the soul like leaves the physical body. There is a way that the body shuts itself down. And there had just become like this rhythm that I had heard again and again and again, so that I couldn't like get that out of my head when I tried to like go and take that nap that first afternoon after she passed. She passed early in the morning, 7 a.m. in fact, but it had been a long night and a long morning. And my sister came to like wake me up and tell me something. And I came to, and I was like, there was a way that I don't even remember exactly what I said, but I was communicating to her something like, oh, is she here? Like, is she here? I had this sense that mom hadn't yet died, and my sister had this look of horror in my face that I heard later on. She went back to all my sisters and my other sisters and said, like, I think something's wrong with Jule. Because, like, it was like I had confusion over what moment exactly we were in. And that, I think, is the way that the dying process just happens. Like, Kairos and Chronos time get all mixed up together. And so in my own experience, there's a way that there's that sense that whether they're still there or not. In my dad's passing, which happened about 5.5 months after my mom passed, I could tell he died at home. I was with him at home alone in the middle of the night. And when he passed, even though they like came and they took his body away, for like the next several nights, I had this sense that he was sort of still there. And we were stripping the room and, you know, beginning to remove his personal artifacts. And there was a point at which I could tell, okay, he's not here anymore. Like, there was a way that whatever that was about, I don't know exactly, but I bring all of those experiences into my understandings of this risen Christ thing that's being recorded in the Gospel of John. And I have that sense that his friends are like maybe shocked that he's suddenly standing among them, and maybe not so shocked, because maybe for them too, Kairos and Chronos time was getting all mixed up, and it was like, is he dead? Is he alive? What's exactly going on? You know, what the risen Christ comes to them in the middle of all that chaos and confusion, that weariness, the whole range of emotions, the risen Christ comes to them, shows up in that room, and the words that he says are, according to the Gospel of John, peace be with you. And he says it again in the Gospel of John as well, in that same story. He says it again. And I was at a monastic experience a couple of years back, and among the Sisters of the Sacred Heart in Cullman, Alabama. Shout out to them. If you're ever looking for a retreat space not too far from Nashville, Tennessee, drive about 2 miles to the south, and the Sisters of the Sacred Heart, it's a Benedictine monastic community. They're amazing, and their charism is retreats, and so they provide a beautiful spot for individual retreats, but also these beautiful, very nice equipped dormitories. One's called St. Joseph's, one called St. Mary's, and you can stay in those in a group as well. So if you're ever looking for that, shout out to the Sisters of the Sacred Heart, Cullman, Alabama, Benedictine monastic sister community. And in my experience there, I was there right around the time of Easter, and I was listening to that text and like listening in prayer to that text. And I had this sense that like, oh, like this is kind of like a command like Jesus is giving. It's almost like a, you know, peace be with you. Like peace, like get peace in you. Like I'm here to tell you that you are to be a people of peace. And I haven't done the whole breaking down of that actual Greek word, and I'm sure There are New Testament scholars out there who have and can tell you exactly what that verb means and what tense it's in and exactly what that means. But what I know is when I hear those words in the middle of all that chaos and confusion of that first night of Easter, Jesus' words to them are, peace be with you. Like peace, like get it in you, because nothing else matters. Let it be peace. The Gospel of Mary, an extra canonical gospel, actually has a bit of a teaching around the teacher, who is, it's most translations of the Gospel of Mary name Jesus the teacher, and the teacher saying, acquire my peace within you. And in that very same, I think it's the fourth chapter of the Gospel of Mary, and it says, like, don't go looking over there or looking over here or like all of that kind of stuff. Just like acquire my peace within you. He goes on in that Gospel of Mary to say, the kingdom is within, like the true anthropos, the child of true humanity is within you. Look for it. Don't go looking for it everywhere else. Acquire my peace within you. When we acquire peace within us, like all the holy opposites come together. That aspect of us that is fully human and that aspect of God that lives within us, when that integrates together, the Gospel of Mary's words that is used is that's where the child of true humanity is. That's where the anthropos is, which is this fancy Greek word that really just means the human one, like the real human one, because the real human one, the anthropos, is the one that is fully integrated. All the holy opposites have come to peace within, are in balance within. Acquire my peace within you. So on our pause for peace today, I want to share with you a little plaque that I found for this very podcast room when we were opening it last year. And it actually is the peace symbol with peace. And I thought it actually matches really well with our colors. And it actually says here, peace. It does not mean to be in a place where there is no noise, trouble, or hard work. It means to be in the midst of those things and still be calm in your heart. And then we have after there the Hebrew word for peace. I believe there's the Aramaic word. There's all sorts of other characters here. This might even be some kind of perhaps Chinese, perhaps German. I'm not exactly sure which. But other languages that all say peace. And if all we ever know is the peace symbol itself, that's cool, because like the peace symbol is a good way to remind us to acquire Christ's peace within us. So this is our one like sacred object that remains in our podcast room all the time. You don't see it all the time when I'm recording. And if you're listening to this podcast, you're not even seeing it ever, but when you are watching the video cast of this podcast, you don't usually see this plaque in front of my like face or even behind my face, because we keep it in this podcast room in another place. It's like that sacred object that reminds us to acquire the risen Christ peace within us, to have peace, to be peace in this world. So we're going to practice today, because like this little plaque says, peace does not mean to be in a place where there's no noise, trouble, or hard work. It means to be in the midst of those things and still be calm in your heart. And I know for a lot of us, that's really hard, to be calm internally in the midst of the broiling chaos that's around us. And I know a lot of folks have been struggling this year with, like, ever since the presidential season and all of the ads and everything that we go through in this whole process of the election, and such a challenging election season, these last several presidential elections, because our country is so divided, and we continue to be like sometimes preyed upon in some ways to like continue to try and make us divisive. And yet, I don't know about in your life, but in my life, again and again and again, I like meet random people who are, when I take the moment to actually say hello or actually to like reach out and connect, I don't experience divisiveness. I experience connection, and I experience kindness and joy and hospitality and new friendship. And so there's a way that we can let all the chaos around us swirl, but be a people of peace, and to, not let the news is the anomaly. I say it all the time. They don't report all the stuff that went right. They report the stuff that is the anomaly. It's like, this is the one standing out in the middle of everything else that has all gone right today. This is the one thing that didn't go right today, and that's what we're going to put up before you. We can be a people who like stay right where we are each and every day and experience life right here, no matter what everybody else wants to tell us, and be a people of peace and let peace radiate out into the world from us. So, acquire Christ's peace within us. Or if you want to hear the fourth gospel that way, like, get it. Jesus is saying, like, be peace. All right, let's go. So if you will, get your feet flat on the floor, and remember that under you is this beautiful earth somewhere that holds us. That for those of us in the northern hemisphere, and as we're experiencing spring, or maybe you're living somewhere where spring feels like it's far off yet, but it really is the season of spring in the northern hemisphere. There's so much unfurling in the earth, under the earth, in the soil itself. There's a way everything's coming back to life. It's one way that we can get ourselves back grounded in peace, get connected with the earth. I'm going to invite us to use our breath today, because our breathing, I've shared this before, our breathing actually in that deep breath and that holding before we release, it actually works on our parasympathetic nervous system and slows everything down. So breathing in a grounded way whenever you're feeling swirl within or without is one way to like acquire Christ's peace, to be peace, to follow Jesus' command in the fourth gospel that's telling all the people like, peace be with you in the middle of the Easter evening chaos. So if your feet are flat on the earth, let's begin taking a few deep breaths from our diaphragm. Hold it, and that infilling, just hold it. And it's almost like the wave that then crashes, releasing, letting go, whatever needs to be. We'll do that 3 times. Deep infilling once again. If you can, hold to the count of 4 before you release. And if you can release to like at least a 6, like 6 out breaths, 6 out beats as you're breathing out. And then breathing back in, count of 4. Holding to the count of 4. And then release to 6 beats. If you can go longer, that's even awesome. If you could go to 8, that would be great. Let's take one more deep breath. Hold. And release. Let's see if we can release to 8 this time. You might even place your hands on your belly, on your like the bottom of your diaphragm, As you keep breathing, see if you're grounded right now in this place. And if you're feeling like fluttering anywhere within, you might even just like use your hands and kind of like open palm, just like rake whatever away. Maybe you even want to clear out a space around you, because maybe you've been in a meeting or like on a bus or around lots and lots of energy, and you just need to clear all that away from you. Then return to your breath from the diaphragm, holding before you release. And on the release, if you can feel, it's almost like your cells are settling deeper within. If as we're doing this, you're noticing anywhere within that is feeling like off, or that is feeling tight, or it's feeling agitated maybe, then I'm going to invite you to just take your open palm of one of your hands and place your palm gently on that place. So like if I'm feeling like my heart space being a little bit erratic maybe, then, or maybe a little bit tight, or maybe it's feeling dense or heavy, then I can just place my open palm on my heart space, breathe into that space. Invite the energy, like to follow those words of Jesus, to let peace be in you. Like you're saying to your heart space, peace be with you. Maybe it's in your head. Maybe you're somebody who gets headaches or migraines, or just wakes up with like too much eye strain from the computer, so your forehead hurts when you wake up. And so you can place your hand there on your head, take a deep breath. As you release, you're setting that tension, that intention, peace be with you. Like you're telling your brain, your forehead, your strained eyes, peace be with you. Peace. Peace. Maybe you're somebody who's got pain. Like sometimes I still have pain in my shoulder as I'm recovering from this shoulder surgery. So I could place my hand right there on that rotator cuff that's still in this time of re-strengthening. And I can take a deep breath. Like directing my breath to that place in my shoulder. Maybe even visualizing it moving from my diaphragm through my arm to my palm that is on my shoulder. And as I release, I'm breathing out peace into this shoulder, setting that intention. Peace be with you, letting those words of the risen Christ, peace be in you. So that any pain or tension or tightness that I might still experience in that shoulder, sometimes it's just sore because I use it in ways I'm not supposed to yet. And so, peace be in you. Use the breath, use the intention, the prayer. Peace be with you. It's like you're talking to your parts, you might think like you're talking to your heart space, you're talking to your forehead, you're talking to your shoulder. You're saying inwardly, peace be with you. I'm going to invite us to return both of our palms to our diaphragm, like by our belly there, on top of our belly, both hands stacked on top of one another. And do some deep breathing once again. You're like making these hands expand outward and contract inward on the release. As we continue that breath pattern, where we hold a little bit longer than we have breathed in, While we release, we're inwardly saying, through our palms, you might think about it, or maybe just like through words being sent right down there to your diaphragm, saying, peace be with you. And pay attention to where you might be experiencing peace within. The aim is to get to that like center column, that center point that feels so grounded that nothing can shake it, that no matter the chaos surrounding, that center point is still, is calm in the midst of the raging storms of life. That center point brings us back to peace, so that we can follow, be honoring of Jesus' words to his disciples, the risen Christ's words to his disciples. Peace, my peace be with you. My peace be in you. Acquire my peace in you. If you get pulled off at all, you just come back with the breath, with that intention. And then wherever you have your hand, if you have your hand on your knee because your knee hurts a lot, then you're grounding yourself and your energy into that knee, and you're letting those words of the risen Christ enter into your knee. Peace be with you. You're doing that while you're taking those deep breaths. Preferably with your feet flat on the ground or flat on the earth, or aware that they are connected to the earth under you. Now, before we depart these moments of stillness, I'm going to invite you to return your hands to your diaphragm, like stacking your palms on top of one another, and one palm on your belly, the other palm on top of it, stacked on top of the other hand, the back of the hand. And I want you to notice what you're experiencing inside. I hope that you're like having resounded within you. Peace be with you. Like, acquire my peace in you. Notice what is happening in you, how you might be feeling like you are a column of peace. Even if you're still feeling jittery, like sometimes our nervous system might still feel jittery, and yet there's a way that we feel like grounded amid that. And if you have the ability to like kind of visualize, to like see in your mind's eye that Jesus, this risen Christ, is saying peace be with you, and that you are looking back into this like shimmering face that's just surrounded in light and love, and that you are radiating that light and love back. Like it's almost like sunburning you, how a sunburn comes in the sun, like it just takes into your skin, and it's almost like this radiant risen one is saying, peace be with you. And you're expressing through this visualization your gratitude back to the risen Christ. Like, thank you. Thank you that you give your peace, that you command me to be a column of peace in the midst of a whirling, swirling world. if you'll return your hands, your palms together, which is what we often call prayer pose, the center of your chest right there. And you can open your eyes when you are ready if you have closed them. You might not have closed them. And let's end our pause for peace this time in prayer pose, just bowing to one another and extending that sense of peace, the risen Christ's peace being with each one of us. So you can join me now and literally bow and say, peace be with you. And receive that message to yourself. Receive that message. I receive that message from you. I appreciate that. And if you want to take a moment to jot down in a journal, or at least to have like imprinted in your being, what did it feel like to have that peace within? Maybe it didn't happen for you. Maybe you were continuously pulled off. That's okay. That's a muscle that you need to practice then. That's a way you can build that muscle when you practice, acquiring peace within. You can come back to this pause for peace whenever you want to practice, acquiring the risen Christ peace within. Blessings for this third week of Eastertide. I look forward to seeing you next time.